What was taking Xanax like for the first time? I was prescribed Xanax for a long time for my anxiety. I'm diagnosed with GAD, it's general anxiety disorder. And this is what it was like taking Xanax for the very first time when I actually really needed it. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. My name is Eric. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, GAD, MDD, lost a wife and a father to suicide, a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict. And this is my experience the first time that I took Xanax and what it was like. Xanax is a drug that there's a lot of stigma around because it is a benzodiazepine. It is an addictive drug. It affects your central nervous system. And people are a lot of times really afraid of Xanax or afraid of a benzo because of the negative stigmatism around it. Now, this medication was designed to help people, and I was prescribed Xanax. The first time that I took Xanax, it just literally saved my life in a sense. I let my brain be able to breathe, if that makes any sense. For somebody that struggles with anxiety, as soon as you say, my brain can breathe, everyone goes, yeah, I know that feeling, because anxiety, we get so wrapped up into our thoughts that our breathing gets thrown off, our heart rate gets thrown off, we start to feel sick, we feel like there's just stuff crawling in our skin. So the first time that I ended up taking Xanax, the doctor told me to kind of take as prescribed, and when anxiety starts to build up, to take one. I took a 1/4 milligram of Xanax. Taking that 1/4 milligram of Xanax, that didn't hit my system for about 15 minutes. When I took that first 1/4 milligram of Xanax, I was in the middle of going through an anxiety attack. I could feel it building up. It was already a rough, stressed out day. In about 15 minutes, it felt like my brain all of a sudden took this deep breath. Just this big sigh of relief. You can actually feel the Xanax. It affects your central nervous system. So you can feel your heart rate start to slow down. When you're having anxiety, you'll start to sweat sometimes. You feel your body temperature start to lower. You feel your mind stop racing, which is a huge one. Your mind is racing all over the place. You can't control it. And it's like fear building upon fear, building upon fear, building upon fear, and it doesn't stop. It literally hits the pause button in your brain, and you just go, and everything slows down. Your heart rate slows down. If you're feeling sick, that sickness feeling goes away. It feels like everything with your skin, everything just stops moving, and it's a very calming feeling. It puts you back, it almost centers your body to where you can look around and you go, you know what, everything's okay. And almost like you naturally start to say positive affirmations of like, hey, it's okay. I can breathe. It's all right. And you get yourself out of this mindset, this mind track of constant fear just building upon itself. And we amp ourselves so much when we're going through anxiety and an anxiety attack that we kind of build it up and keep building it up and keep building it up, where this takes you from 100 to 0 real quick. And a lot of that has to do with how it affects your central nervous system. It's a great tool because it calms your whole body, your mind, everything. It slows it all down to where everything is okay. It's all manageable right now at this moment, that we're not overwhelmed, that everything is at peace, and it's all okay. That is the easiest way that I could describe what taking Xanax is like. And the first time that I took it, it calmed me down and made me realize that I'm in control and this is all right, that there's nothing to be afraid of. And allowed me to literally sit there and just collect my thoughts, collect my breathing. Now that I'm slowed down enough, I could focus in on what was causing me the anxiety. It was actually a list of everything I had to get done. I could look at that and go, you know what, I can do some of this. And I started progressing forward in it. That was the beauty of Xanax. That's how it felt in my whole system of just taking this deep breath. And it's something not to be afraid of. I mean, it is a benzodiazepine. There are addictive properties to it because of how it affects your system, how it affects your central nervous system. But so much of it is communicating with your doctor even what your fear is. Getting a over-the-counter prescription Xanax is the way to go. If you get street Xanax, that stuff can be made with a pill press. It can have fentanyl in it. It can have a lot of different other ingredients and chemicals in it that make it extremely dangerous. So get with your psychiatrist if you are really truly struggling with anxiety, and it's not a weakness. Now, Xanax was designed only to be on for a couple months. There are people that do take it a lot longer than that. Everyone is different, and that's what you have to remember is all of our chemistry, our makeup, our bodies are all different, and so the way that a med affects somebody else completely different sometimes. So just because you hear, you know, you had a family member who was an addict to alcohol, whatever, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be addicted to this drug. I'm a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict, and Xanax was never a drug of mine that became a drug of choice, something that I really wanted to abuse, because it helped me, it slowed me down, it calmed me down, it allowed me to function, it allowed me to adult, and allowed me to push through my anxiety, because anxiety is very crippling. This gave me the ability to actually kind of power through my day when I was having a lot of anxiety built up. And there's different causes from anxiety. Money can cause anxiety issues. Relationships can cause anxiety issues. Chemical misbalance in your brain can cause anxiety issues. There's a lot of different factors that can cause anxiety. So it's really starting then to address those factors that cause the anxiety if you want to start weaning off the meds. And it's also a medication that you don't want to just stop cold turkey, because if you are taking it very consistent at a high dose, it can be deadly to get off of just cold turkey. You want to taper off of it. Benzodiazepines do affect, again, your central nervous system. So it is a dangerous drug just to quit out of nowhere. But it is an amazing tool. So don't be afraid to take a med. Don't be afraid to question your doctor on a med, to find comfort in why are you taking it, to even put together a program of how long you're going to be taking it for, so that you know when you're going to start tapering off of it. That's where so much of it revolves around communication. So much stigma around drugs and medication that we're prescribed is around stigmas, because you know what, we don't sometimes ask the right questions, and we allow our fear to dictate what we try and what we don't try. And life is beautiful. I would try anything and everything in the world if I were to trial and error with my doctor, massive communication, just to see if it helped me or if it hurt me. And that's the thing, is if you feel that this medication is not for you, it's not working correctly in your system, you're not being productive, you're not able to function, you got to let your doctor know right away. If I took too much Xanax, what I noticed, it just put me very lethargic and almost a comatose state. And that's not where I wanted to be. I mean, I had to trial and error to find the right dosage of Xanax. When I take too much Xanax, I'm done. I'm done for the day. My body, my brain is shot. I'm just sitting there. That's all that's going to get done. But at that right dosage, I'm able to take it, fight through my anxiety, and be extremely productive still during the daytime. So it's trial and error to find the right dosage. It's working it through with your doctor to find the right dosage. And then once you take it, using it for the reasons that you're prescribed it. I was prescribed it as needed when it came to anxiety. And that's just what I did. And it was an amazing, effective tool. And eventually it got to the point that I didn't need Xanax anymore. I haven't taken Xanax in well over a year. And that's a beautiful thing to be able to do, is to get to the point where you don't even need the medication anymore, because you have coping tools, you've changed up your life, you've done some different routines that make life so much easier for you. So don't forget that you're not stuck just on that medication if you're prescribed it. There are meds like Xanax that you can work it, that you don't have to be on that your entire life. Just remember this, that you matter. I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm none of that. I just like to share from experience, just so that other people feel less alone, because that's the whole thing, is whenever we're prescribed a new med, we do all this research and we do all this stuff and we freak ourselves out because we're afraid of all the negative effects instead of the positive effects. And Xanax, to me, I'm very, very pro meds, because meds are tools and they help us get through the day. Why not get through the day a lot easier than making it more difficult to get through the day? I would want the easy way to do it and the more productive way to do it, because I'm happier that way. And you know what? I'm leading a fulfilling life that way. It's about you. Do you and be you. And just remember this, you matter. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because you know what? The more that you share, the more that you let other people know what you're going through, the more that nobody feels alone in life. And that's what it's all about, is not feeling alone. So you know what? When it comes down to a Xanax, when it comes down to Klonopin, any of these different kind of anxiety drugs, talk to your doctor about it, get comfortable with it, understand them, understand how you're going to use them, and you know what? Realize that it's a tool that's going to make your life so much better.